But you never know that you could. And when you feel that way, ain't it good, good dancing in the red and gold. Dancing in the red and gold.
This is the 49er Faithful UK show. We're back. We're live. The evenings are getting lighter. The 2025 season is a distant memory. The new league season starts in about 3 weeks. So there's news, fixtures, free agency, coaches, and all sorts of things we'll probably ignore and talk about something else entirely. But there you go. That's just how we roll. I am Gareth Ellis, and I am joined by Paul Hope.
Good evening, everybody. Good to be back.
And reigning Prediction League champion, Naji Karar.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? I keep forgetting about that. Hello, everyone. Hi.
You're not fooling anyone.
Okay, fair enough. I still don't have the trophy. That's why.
Well,
That's
yeah.
why I want my trophy.
We'll know when it's behind you. So there we are. Good to see you. Good to see you, lads. It's been a couple of weeks. I enjoyed our last show, the award show, the 4 Foucaults. There's news on that. I think Naji. I think Kev has done his magic and set up the voting.
He has indeed. I hope he joins us in a bit. So if I say anything stupid, he'll correct me. But he's done a Google sheet, so you can go and vote for all the nominees that we have chosen. There's a few categories where there's not that many, but it was a bit rough this year to find some of them. But yeah, go there, fill your Google sheet. I don't know if he's done the when you finish, it sends you an email so you know you've done it, so you don't do it a million times. And he's posted that on Facebook, I think on Twitter, definitely on Discord, and everywhere that we are. If not, just head to one of those on our group. You'll find the link somewhere. And go and vote. And then next week we'll dish out the awards. I know all the players are eagerly waiting for it
of course.
every year. That's pretty much the only thing they play for, really. Let's face it.
Yeah.
The most prestigious award. We'd have to compete with the Oscars, but I think ours is better. Go and vote. Have fun with this. I do enjoy this show. It's really fun. Extra.
It was. I enjoyed last show.
Yeah,
it helps flush. Ultimately, is sort of disappointing, and particularly a fairly bitter end to the season. But it was
there
good.
It is. So we got 25 people that
there we are.
voted. I think we got about 300 on Discord, and we got well over 3,000 on Facebook. So I hope we can get that number a bit higher.
We've had
in the hundreds would be
hundreds.
Nice.
Yeah, we've usually had about 100 votes, I think, cast.
Yeah.
In last year, so it'd be good to get a few more than that.
Definitely. Our insiders here.
I think it's always good when we do a show like that, chaps, that you kind of, when the season ends the way it ends, and then you go back. And I think when you were talking through the bits, because you've done your homework, Gareth, and you were pointing things out, and you think, oh yeah, that happened, and you see the highlights.
Some fun games.
There were some good moments last year, and I mean, seeing Will Gavin interviewing a few of the Niners players at the Pro Bowl, and he had a good chat with CMC, and CMC said it was a great year. We just want to put to bed the rumours that Mr. Gowland fled the country to avoid giving Naji the trophy. He is working in the state at the moment, and his allegiance to his college team may be changing. But we'll just put those rumours to bed, Naji. You will get the trophy soon, I'm sure, buddy.
We'll see. I hope so. If not, I'll just have to go and get it myself. That's fine.
Just get a new one.
Just get a new one here.
He should be working hard, but do watch out for any dubious names that might appear in the comments section.
Cowboy. I don't know if things coming here, but something from
we
Texas.
do appreciate Kev putting the spreadsheet together. So after the last show, Gareth,
I mean,
I deliberately didn't go crazy on socials because I wanted the spreadsheet to go out first, and everyone's been busy. And it was strange because we kind of shoehorned that show into the league going away. And I think, was it back in the last week, us three were like, we'll be doing a show this week. And we were like, sorry, everybody. So we do apologize.
We've all been, I think it's the theme of the season, isn't it? We've all been busy and crazy life-changing moments and stuff. So it's fine. We've got time for this, technically.
Yeah.
And it's good
to have the gap. I think the gap really puts the one season to bed, and then we can start looking ahead to the new one. News. news already for fixtures on the new season, lads. Have you booked your tickets to Mexico and Melbourne?
Both, yeah, absolutely, yeah,
Obviously.
yeah, for sure. No, but yeah, good news. Yeah, it sort of makes sense. Australia, not really, it is really far away. But I do understand why the NFL would want to do that. Mexico makes a ton of sense. I know it's very disappointing for us. We've been waiting for them for 13 years now to come back here. But it's just, the Mexican Latino community and around California and San Francisco specifically is very strong. If you've ever been, you've seen it. So it does completely make sense for them to go and play over there as a home game. And last time we did, we had a great game. We destroyed the Cardinals. So why not do it again? I don't have a problem with it.
And I know it's 2 international games, but obviously I think San Francisco down to Mexico City is probably shorter than going to Jacksonville or
Yeah,
New York.
yeah, that's
I
true.
haven't checked, but it's
Probably is,
surely can't be much in it. So it's not that international.
Yeah,
in
apart from
terms of distance.
the altitude thing is a bit of an issue in terms of fitness and the body, and hopefully there's not too many substations up there, so otherwise we'll be in trouble. But
Is it higher than Denver, do you think?
I think so. Yeah, it's quite a lot higher than Denver. Yeah,
I've seen the rumours. Well, obviously, first of all, Nadji said it better than I can. Delighted for the Australian faithful. Delighted for the Mexican faithful.
100%.
Equally disappointed we didn't get the game in London, but I'm pleased that it's not this waiting game. I'm glad the news is done. But I have seen stuff on social media where the Niners fans are unhappy because it would have been 10 home games this year, 9 at Levi's, 1 at Levi South. So the Rams have gone the weirdest way ever to take away our home field advantage. I go to Australia, but I think that game
we'll still have it in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Of course we will.
You know,
Of course we will.
I know both Rams fans might make it out to Melbourne, but
it's going to be interesting because the ground in Melbourne is the cricket ground and it's an oval, so it's going to be interesting to see those dynamics.
Is it the cricket ground or is it the Aussie rule?
No,
the
it's
Aussie
the
rule
Melbourne
ground?
cricket ground, but I think they sometimes have the Aussie rules final there. But
right. I mean, it's big, right? It's like 115,000 or something like that. So
it's going to be filled at the rafters. But I think they're going to play that game Wednesday night in Australia.
Week 1. I mean,
Thursday morning in the UK. The time difference is crazy. I think Will Gavin tweeted out it might be a 3 a.m. start for us in the UK. So I'll put this one to bed already. There won't be a watch party week 1 if we're playing at 3 a.m. However, Gareth, the Mexican game, I believe, could be week 13 or 14. I think they're going to spread the travel out. But it is crazy that we're going to be traveling, 38,000 miles and still not come to London. But, I mean, it is what it is.
We're one of the teams that always travel the most anyway. So I don't think a few thousand more miles here and there is going to make much difference. I do appreciate the time difference.
I think for that week 1, that's your whole preparation.
Yeah.
12 hours out of kilter.
Yeah, that's true. But I do appreciate the NFL putting that game week 1. So at least we can, I think, probably go sooner and get acclimated and not be too late. I fully expect our bye week to be extremely early this year because of it. Maybe, the first ones, which is week 4? Something like that. So, yeah, something to watch for when the schedules gets released in end of April, early May.
And obviously, if it's a Wednesday, that might well be a mini bye in that we should then be probably playing on the following Sunday. And you need
even
that.
The Monday night, yeah.
If you've ever travelled that far, you need that time to get your body back. You need.
Yeah, I mean, week 2, not everybody is up to speed anyway. I think it's definitely a disadvantage, but I don't think it's as bad as if we were going there week 8, week 9, or like in the middle of December, for example, when it really matters. It's not ideal, but they're a business, they're expanding, they're trying to find new income and revenue. So
it's a hell of a game to send over. Did you see Pat McAfee interview Kittle? So Kittle tried to be diplomatic by saying it's a long way to go on the plane. And McAfee was like, when you get 10 hours in, you think I'm nearly done. And then you look out and you see water. And you realise you've still got another 7 or 8 hours in Kittle's face. But it is a hell of a game. And as you said, they're growing the game internationally. And I was saying to the chaps at work who are starting to get into the NFL, they're like, why have they sent that game over there? I was like, because London sells out. No matter which teams they sell to London, that sells out.
True.
And now they're going, obviously, the bigger games are going elsewhere.
Well,
word.
I heard somebody saying that they've actually run out of revenue in the US. Like the amount of money that they can make in the US is just capped now. I kind of, obviously merch and all that kind of stuff, but in terms of like TV rights until that renews and all that kind of stuff, the NFL doesn't make more money in their own country, so that's why they're branching out. It's a business. They're just trying to make more money, and it makes sense to try and reach Australia.
Yeah, Premier League's global, other sort of sports are global. I think that's
Yeah.
they're moving that out, aren't they? Because it's not played to the professional standard pretty much anywhere other than North America. So
Yeah.
it all looks like a growth market, and it's got it because the salary cap is going to take another whopping jump this year. So
yeah,
and they've said as well, like the Niners have obviously already included credit, I believe, to the season ticket holders because they're still getting 8 home games, but they're losing the 9th home game, 7 road games, 2 international games, and all the content creators, Chapman, very excited. He's already making plans to go out to Australia, seeing social media explode. And I'm quite pleased, I said to you two off air, that it's been announced now because I kind of used to dread this time of year with the kind of who's coming to London, are the Niners coming, what would that look like to us for?
Yeah,
would we be going down
that's
to
nice
London
to
for
know.
the week? And kind of now it's like, right, that one's done. So maybe we might have news about watch parties. I'm joking because Lee's not here. We don't have any news at the moment, but the decent time.
It's a good point, Mermaid. Like if they play late because they're 12 hours ahead, we'll have an early day kind of, right? So if they play at 8 p.m., it'll be at 8 a.m. for us or something like that, right? Is that right?
it's
Yeah,
going to be timed to
right.
be surely a morning game in West Coast.
That's
it's
what
going to be
I've heard,
timed
yeah.
for
It's timed
the
for that.
American TV market, surely.
Yeah,
So,
so
it's
but then,
whatever time that's going to be,
but then
10 a.m. Pacific, something like that.
they're almost 24 hours behind, or not there or thereabouts, 20 hours behind. So I have no idea how that they're going to try and schedule that, but definitely for us, they won't play in the morning over there. That's not cool. They'll definitely play at the very least in the afternoon. I don't know. It could be like a 6 a.m. game for us if they play at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, something like that. So yeah.
I know Will Gavin said to me that Australia tends to be 3 a.m. for red zone. So we have to get up at that time for 1 week. And I was like, oh, there's going to be no doubt we're going to be watching. And the Discord will be electric, especially if it's week 1. Because let's face it, we're all keyed into the NFL season. So week 1, Rams, that's just going to set the tone for the season. And especially with the way the season ended with, Seattle winning the division, Rams being second. There's an argument for the NFC West being the toughest division in football. And, sorry, Najee, you're on mute. I don't know whether you've knocked.
Just drinking, trying not to do some ASMR as well as talking. Yeah, you're right. I think it's definitely a big advert for the game, like sending to the best team that could have easily, at the very least, go to the Super Bowl and probably win it. We could have, if we beat the Seahawks, we could definitely make it all the way. If the Rams beat the Seahawks, we can make it all the way and win it. Yeah, it's going to be a round. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. It will be September, so it'll be cold. That's the good thing as well. Like it'll be the end of their winter, kind of. So I think in terms of bodies and all that, I think at least they're not going in 45-degree heat, because it's reverse. So,
and also it kind of lets us know, Gareth, that, and sorry for being the bearer of what I'm going to say. It looks like we won't be London next year because if they've played as a home team this season coming, the expectation is you don't have to do it the season after. And the fact they've played 2 international games, I would hazard a guess that means we won't be going international for a couple of years. And even then,
2 years,
I say the United Arab Emirates have got the marketing rights. And
there'll be a game there in no time. Yeah,
I see the New York Giants fans were getting excited because they've been announced as the German marketing rights. And I was like, to the UK Giants fans, I was like, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get your team over.
It means nothing.
I've done a quick magic of the internet claims that Australian, Eastern time in Australia, because obviously they've got 3 time zones, is 18 hours ahead of Pacific time. So even a 10 a.m. Pacific would be a 4 a.m. The following day in Australia, so I doubt they're going to start the game at 4 a.m. So I don't quite know how they're going to work those
So Kev's
times.
put here 6 p.m. in San Francisco would be 1 p.m. Melbourne, which would be 2 a.m. in the UK.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
And someone here has put that the Friday night cricket games are usually televised Saturday morning here around 7, 8. That would be a 4 p.m. game on the West Coast, dependent on daylight savings. So,
I mean, again,
look
if
at us
it's
all trying to put our geography to the test, Nadji. Who would have
it's a
thought this?
Thursday, if it's a Thursday night game, then would it be national television in the States, and then it'll be
Well, yeah,
8
well, you know, it's week
PM?
one. It could be. We could
So then
steal the
it'll be-
Seahawks thunder of being the first game, couldn't we? So
Yeah, so it'll be 8 p.m. Eastern, which is what 4 p.m. West Coast, which is then
9
what
p.m. for us.
Mark
isn't
has
it?
said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we'll see, and I'm sure if it's an early one, we may definitely have a watch party. We'll see.
Well, I was saying
Schedule come up.
to Nadji and Gareth, everyone, that about 2 days before the Australian news broke, we were looking at our holiday options, and Tracy was like, I've always wanted to go to Australia. I can categorically say that when she found out the Niners were going this year, it's not happening, but it did make me chuckle. And I have seen a few people looking at flights, prices. I think you have looked, didn't you, Nadji? Like the flight.
I have looked. Yeah, I mean, I was supposed to go a few days ago because one of my friends got married and I got invited. So I looked into going. It just wasn't gonna happen. I'm too busy and it's far too expensive because it's summer over there, so it's not ideal. But I think it's because it is winter, and in Melbourne is really not great weather in the winter. From what I hear, it's very rainy. It could be a lot cheaper. So yeah, well, yeah, have a look, people. You know, it's doable. Also, I will say, if you look into going, look into I can't remember what they call it, sleepover programs that companies make. You basically get a free night hotel wherever you stop over. Stopover program. I think that's what they call it. So say you go via Dubai, you can stay one night in Dubai for free, explore the city a little bit, and fly the next day. Break it in half. Yeah, companies do it to try and promote tourism, and you just spend money in their country usually where they stop over. So yeah.
Well,
As
there we
Kev
go.
said, Nadji, whatever time it starts in the UK, we'll
Whatever
be in the
time,
Boston
yeah.
Leeds.
Oh,
I mean,
well,
why not? Like breakfast watching, that'll be fun. 6
There we
a.m.
go.
watching football.
We've rabbit holed on that one enough, but
We have.
just
We have.
just a quick one. Suppose you know, Jed obviously he phones us up and says, lads, you can have a trip to one of them. Which one would you pick?
Mexico.
I'll
Mexico for
definitely.
me.
I'll pick Melbourne just because I've got so many friends.
Well,
there.
exactly. But you know, I think
Definitely one for
the
me.
atmosphere in Mexico would be
Yeah, Mexico for the
banging,
game, but for personal reason, I would definitely take Australia.
Not sure Tracy would be too happy with your answer there, Paul. But let's
Yeah.
move on before she notices.
She could come. She could come as well, Gareth, you know.
So, coaching changes. Robert Saleh has left the building. He's gone to the Titans' new head coach and has built the baldest coaching team of
I have
all
seen
time. Good job.
Yes, that's very funny.
Good job for Robert Saleh. Good move.
I don't know. They were until very recently pretty what's the word? Faithful, or like a better word, to their coach. I think Mike Vrabel stayed there for quite some time, despite not winning quite a lot. I think they had a few good seasons, but so maybe a better ownership than the Jets for sure. Although they have been absolutely dreadful for a certain amount of time now. So I mean, if there's a man that can take them out of it, it's definitely him. It'll sort out their defense in no time, and they'll become competitive in a division that is probably winnable, right? You know, the Colts they were hot last year, but they kind of faded away. I know it's hard about a QB. I know injuries, right? Oh no. But yeah, I don't know. They're getting a new stadium soon and all that. I think there's quite a lot of buzz in around Memphis, around Tennessee. Yeah, I don't know.
No
We'll see.
substation next to the new station.
No substation. I'm sure there is one. I'm sure there's substations everywhere.
I mean, I was shocked at first glance because of how bad the Titans were. But as Nadji just said there, new stadium. They've obviously got the quarterback. And you think of when he took over at the Jets. And what I mean, though, Nadji, is obviously they've gone in on the draft pick. He went to the Jets and he got given Rodgers. And then Rodgers went down. And I think realistically, maybe part of those conversations have been, you know, we've invested in the quarterback, but we want you to come and build the defense up.
Jets aren't a fair evaluation. They're just
No, but he
dumpster fire.
did do pretty well considering what he was given, right? They won some games. They were a good defense. They were competitive, and they were like, you know, in the mix to win the division for a few years until they just sacked him because he had an opinion about something, which is whatever.
I think he possibly wanted to be sacked, but yeah, I think it's a good move. It's good that he's gone to the AFC. So I think that's
yeah, it could have been worse. He could have stayed in division or gone, you know. So it was no shock, Gareth, that he's gone. You know, we were all kind of expecting it.
Well, I was sort of expecting it because the comeback was so weird. You know, going from head coach back to coordinator again. I kind of would have thought he might have stayed another year as part of the trying to win this stupid trophy that we've been trying to win for so long. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pass up jobs like that, right? It's guaranteed money.
It is. Yeah, you pass to. You don't pass up a job, and I think isn't the Titans GM came from us, from our front office, didn't he?
Yeah, maybe. Potentially. Yeah, which would explain even more why. Or would you draft your QB and give him a defensive? I mean, they drafted him a year ago. I think he'll have good offensive coordinator. That defense really needs sorted though. So, and you've seen what the Seahawks have done with a good defense.
Like you say, you win your division.
And Sam Darnold, you know, like you win championship if you have good defense.
Win your division, get in the playoffs. But I think what I meant, Najee, is it was no surprise given how many vacancies there were. I think there was only 1 or 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And I think the surprise was the level of vacancies, the fact that you kind of went all in on the Titans. You don't tend to get too many chances at this head coach gig, so this is his second.
Yeah. That's true.
So,
I think it's a different. We live in a different time that even if that one didn't work, somebody would give him another shot just because of how good he is. I think. Compared to Ryan Morris, which we hired, who had 2 shots at head coach, and I think he's probably done now. But yeah.
Well, there we go. Seamlessly, we have a new DC, indeed, ex-Fulton's head coach and long-time drinking buddy of Kyle Shanahan, by the sound of it, if I've read the stories correctly. It is indeed Raheem Morris, and word is Shanahan has been kind of after him for years, and this is the first time things are lined up for him to go there. I'm hopeful on this one as well, that not only do they have a good relationship to work together, but that Morris will actually want to stay and be the defensive coordinator for ideally 3, if not longer. And hopefully he's going to settle in and think, no, I've got it good here. And we've got a young defense. It's a good job to go to, surely. A good appointment for us, Paul.
He's not the flashy scheme genius hire some people wanted. I know a lot of people in the UK fan base wanted Schwarzer. But as you said, Morris is he's kind of that stabilizer. He's someone who's coached every level of the defense. He's had the experience being a head coach. Some people might argue being Shanahan's mate could go against him. But I'm trying to look at the positive of he might be able to be a bit more brutally honest with Kyle. Might be able to kind of, those 2 heads together. And as Kyle proved last year, his growth as a head coach, he kind of let Salah get on with it. And I think Morris will do the same. He commands the room. He understands the game management. I think it's a good hire for the 49ers. So I was pleased when the news broke. It was who I wanted out of all the carousel choice. So I was quite pleased. But were you on the Morris train, Najee, or did you want Schwartz after he left the Browns?
No, because I think the timeline didn't really work. I think Schwartz quit the Browns way later, and we would have had to wait, and then you miss out on stuff. No, I'm really happy. I think definitely the connection with him and Kyle is a good thing. Could be a bad thing in terms of having yes men and friends rather than people that can challenge each other sometimes. But I think they've known each other long enough and have worked in the sport long enough that it won't be an issue.
Be able to do that.
Yeah, they should be able to put the friendship aside and talk between coaches and fix the problem when they arise. And he's, as you said, I think he's done a bit of everything. He's also been like a passing coordinator and an assistant head coach. So he has seen all the facets. He's been a head coach. It hasn't worked out, but I'm not sure the situation were the best necessarily for him. I think just like players having the right, arriving in the franchise at the right time with the right players helps you be a better coach rather than just doing 2 years and getting shipped off because you're not winning any games. No, I think it's good. I think, and I agree with Gareth. I think had we had Schwartz or even Gus Bradley, we would have maybe had a year or two of either of those, and then they would have gone either retiring or gone somewhere else because they've been so good. Maybe Schwartz gets another head coach opportunity somewhere. I think having Ryan Morris probably brings some stability. I mean, famous last word. He's gonna get like 70 sacks next year and get a job offer for sure. But yeah, no, I'm
I'll
looking
be good if
forward
that
to it.
happens, or Nadji, because
It
you
would be
prove
good if
right.
that happens. We
Imagine
need
the
a bit more
soundbite now.
sacks.
Nadji's like, look at what I said.
We need a bit more sacks than we did this year for sure. But in terms of scheme, in terms of what we do, I think like they know each other. They kind of were on the same staff at the Redskin. God forbid it's that name. The old commanders. So yeah, it's I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. See what he can do. I think his energy is not quite the Saleh one, even though Saleh like this year wasn't quite the Saleh that we had in years previous. So I think he can definitely match that. And as you said, I think there's a lot of young people on this defense that will take benefit from this, and hopefully him and Fred and all the people that matter can gel and get on the same page and just ball out and give us what we want from the Niners defense. So
He's not
I'm looking forward to it.
He's not a yes man like Sorensen, and what I like Gareth when I was looking into it.
Yeah, I mean,
when he's been the coordinator, he isn't rigid. He's adaptable. He just, I mean, when he was the coordinator at the Rams, dare I say it, when they went in their run, yes, he had Aaron Donald, but they had that defense at a high level. We saw that
we've got Fred Warner, right?
And, yeah, and he shut down those elite offenses in that playoff run. And, you know, we've got elite linebackers, and he started as a defensive backs coach. And I think, you know, when you start putting the key pieces together, now, when we were approaching this conversation, I didn't want to kind of come on and be a rah-rah, Salah was rubbish, this is a massive upgrade. You know, I'd have loved to have kept Salah for another year, but now Salah's gone. And I think Richie's put in here that it's a shame that we didn't get Schwarzer because he believes he's different gravy. I'm not saying Schwarzer's not a good coordinator. I'm just kind of impressed that we've got the deal done. We've got him in place. And like you said, Nancy, there's not this hanging around. And this time last year, we were it was Salah and there was no plan B. And I think this year, Shanahan, when he knew Salah was going, he wanted Morris to get in. I think we might be better on third down under Morris. But again, that's just all kind of conjecture at this time of year. There's no injuries to talk about.
Is it going to be a scheme change, do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think it will still be in a wide nine and having to down linebacker and playing at the nickel most of the time. We're not going to go 4-3 all of a sudden and draft a nose tackle. That's not what we do. No, I don't think so. I'm looking forward for our DBs to be a bit more impactful. Maybe again, like last year, how can you can't really judge that defense. You lose Fred, you lose Michael, you lose you don't have your starting safety until week 6 of the season. It's really hard to define it. And Saleh did an incredible job with what he had, but that defense is a lot better than what they showed. Just a few players, and we're going to draft players. We might have some free agency. Get some linebackers. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, rather than scheme, Gareth, before we get your thoughts, Morris has shown in his career that he will blitz situationally. He mixes the coverage and he plays matchup football. And Nadji's already mentioned our boy Fred Warner's back. Doesn't matter what scheme you play. I'm excited to see Fred back healthy. I mean, I don't know if you guys caught Fred and the Super Bowl coverage and hearing about the fact that he bounced back and he's going to have another full off season under the books to bounce back from that injury, which, will stand him in good stead. But we didn't ask you, Gareth. Are you happy with this hire or not?
I think so. I think he was possibly a little bit harshly fired by the Falcons, but it's the modern NFL. If you fail to deliver, real meaningful improvement after about 2 years, you're going to get fired. What worries me slightly about that, as I thought the same was about Steve Wilkes. That I thought he was perhaps a bit tough to be fired when he'd done a reasonable job as interim. And I think there's no one's been able to really get the Falcons going for a few years. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad reflection on Morris. But hopefully, it is the guy that Shanahan, I think, has wanted. He said that he's kind of wanted to have him on the staff for a while. So hopefully, this is something where it can be just that stability, where you can instill what you want, and the players know he's going to be there, and you can go into the draft, into the free agency, maybe. Picking up those other players where you think actually you're going to be here for 2 or 3 years. It might take you a year to adapt to my scheme, but that's fine. I'm interested in years 2 and 3 as well. So I'm hopeful. I mean, I'm open to it. We will see what happens. He's when we get to the draft, it'll be interesting to see how much we go defensive, given that we went so heavy on the defensive side last year.
Yeah, that was quite funny.
You want your new coordinator to perhaps have to get some of their new toys to play with, but we'll see how that shakes out. But before the draft, we have free agency to talk about, and even before that, when the league season. New start of the league season, trade window will be open again. A name that I hear bandied about as being a potentially available, the top name is Max Crosby from the Raiders. It all makes sense for the Raiders, given where they are, new head coach, to shift that player. Are you in for Max Crosby if he's available?
Yeah. The end of discussion. He's a good player. Yeah.
What would you give? Fair enough.
Just send them Brandon Ayuk. It's fine. I don't know. It's really hard to
2 firsts.
No, 2 firsts is too much. 2 firsts is too much. I think you can get a lot better with 2 firsts, especially. I think next year's draft will be pretty heavy in terms of defensive talent. This year's defensive front is pretty good too. There's a lot of very good D end. Not necessarily blue chip one, but Max Crosby wasn't one. So, but no, 2 firsts is too much. I much rather keep the ammo and rebuild for the draft. And we know what our cap is. We know there's people we probably need to resign or maybe add, through trades. So I don't know. I would say I would definitely give a first. But the injuries kind of concern me a little bit. He's been injured a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard.
I was reading an article on The Athletic. So Tracy always laughs at me, chaps, and says, "Why are you still on your phone reading stuff about the NFL?" And it was an article about the draft and what it was saying. And I think either Lee or Nadji said this before. The draft is a crapshoot. You don't know what you're going to get. And it was saying these draft picks are more important before they're used because of the potential. So you're coming on the show now and you're saying to me, Nadji, what would we give up for Max Crosby? Now, Max Crosby is shown he can play in the NFL. Would I have him on the 49ers team? As Nadji said, without even breaking a heartbeat, Nadji's like, yes. That's my answer. Yes, of course I'd have him on. Luckily, I'm not paid to make the decisions. Do we give 2 first? I think the Niners will be wary because of what we gave up for Trey. Ultimately, what it'll come down to is, I suppose, in any negotiation, it's common knowledge Crosby isn't going to go back there. Will the trade to the Niners? I don't think the history kind of is that bad as what it used to be. And then you see all the stories that he's invested in Leeds United. He's bought a house in the Bay Area. So, of course, it's happening. I've seen all those stories and I was like, yes. But I'd love to see him on the Niners. But one thing I'll give Lynch and Shanahan the credit, when a deal's been there to be done, they've not been frightened to do it. So we've got this cap space to make it work. And I think we can convert some of Bosa's money into a signing bonus. And I think...
Yeah, because he didn't play, so we're getting some of that money back. Yeah, I think as Paul just said, the potential of getting, because you never know, right? You could, one of your pick might just turn into a new Fred Warner or whatever, the best shutdown corner that you've ever seen. And then just relinquishing this or a new weapon for Brock, or we don't have George this year. We might need to spend to get a new tight end and all that kind of stuff. You always want to see who the next superstar is, and it's gonna come through the draft. That player will be in a draft, and if you miss out on it, just like people have said, oh, we could have drafted Pat Mahomes all those years ago. You don't want to be on these end of discussions and would have missed because you sold your house for, albeit a very good the end that has produced a high level. But we have one of those. He's just injured at the moment, and I think him and Huff and Michael Williams on the same team could just be enough, And I don't think Crosby adds all that much. He adds a lot to the defense we had this year for sure,
There's
but
a
not to the
soundbite.
defense.
Get it clipped. Get it clipped. We'll get.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
But of course, he would add. But does he add 2 first-round pick worth of talent if we have already all the talent we have back from injury? I don't think so. So I'm more than happy to have him, but
You've
I
got
hope
to
we
look at the
don't
roster as well,
overspend.
Nadji.
Yeah.
Like a lot of talk this year, Gareth, is that infamous Super Bowl window, the aging roster.
That's
players
nonsense.
getting
That's
older,
nonsense.
But what I do agree with Nadji is what the draft is good for. If you can get that talent in and you get them cheaper, you can get them younger, and you control and you keep the costs down. And I think I think the Rams have drafted well over the last few years. So that's the conversation you've got to have, Gareth. Do you give up the potential to get that now? But then I don't know. But
I'll put a bow on this actually. But yeah, I'd go for it personally because the first one is pick 27, and next year's will probably be about the same. And for all the things you've talked about, they do make sense, Nadji, about you're going to get the potential of this and the potential of that. Look at all the first round picks we've just whiffed for years.
That's true.
What have we actually done with first round picks? Solomon Thomas, Javon Kinlaw.
Yeah.
It's that.
Brandon
Ayuk, who's now turned out to be bored. Trey Lance, that was obviously 3 years worth. And even Mike McClinchy's one of the best, and Bosa was kind of everyone would have taken Bosa. So like you say, it's potential. It's a crapshoot. You're rolling the dice twice rather than a player is going to play and be top of his position in the NFL.
I think Lynch.
I'd go for it myself.
I think Lynch picks up the phone, and I think straight away they want 2 first rounders. And I think Lynch comes back with, we'll give you a first round, we'll give you a second rounder, and maybe a player of some description, like to sweeten the deal.
That's
a rotational piece.
And
player.
Micah Parsons type level. So.
Yeah. And let's face it, the Raiders are going to put that price high because Crosby is an elite player. He's that kind of player that when he goes on the market, every team in the NFL is going to do that due diligence. I mean, look at Parsons going to the Packers. My friend Chris, who's a Cowboys fan, still hasn't recovered from that. And like you said, it just depends on what you want to give up.
Yeah. I mean, there's also, Colin's making a very good point. There is also talent elsewhere that you can get without just your draft pick and just give this guy a big contract, because that's the thing too. Like Crosby's going to come here and get paid. He's not going to come and take a pay cut. So
no, but if he's
that is why
where he is in his contract is kind of you would trade for him with his contract. Whereas Hendrickson's fine, but Hendrickson is going to want a much bigger contract.
Yeah, that's true. But money is a lot easier to manage. I think,
and the cap's going up and up and up.
The cap is going up.
True. But
this is why I'm not a GM, because I don't have to make those decisions.
Yeah, but it's tempered by our utter lack of return from our first round picks.
That's true.
And that's kind of where I was going with that, really.
But I do feel Paul is right in the fact that yes, maybe his price might be high, but the longer the Raiders wait, the lower that price is gonna get, because everybody knows he doesn't want to be on that team anymore and he just wants out. So they're gonna have to ship him out, otherwise he's gonna hold on.
Yeah, I don't know has he got a no trade clause? Can he pick?
I haven't
seen that mentioned.
I haven't looked into that. I haven't seen
I've
mentioned.
not looked into his contract. So
that matters. I mean, that obviously matters.
It does matter a lot. You never know. The new coach might come in and persuade him to stay.
Yeah, but I don't think it makes sense for him to stay, given that the Raiders just need every single position group, really, apart from maybe tight end. and
Which,
Max Crosby.
Richard
So,
is right.
yeah.
You need to predict and draft better. That's
Yeah,
that's
but
the motto,
there,
isn't it?
there
well,
we
the
go.
commentators
There
will
we
be
go.
voting for Joey Bosa purely because every
Oh, the
game,
Bosa
there's
brothers
always
will
one
be
game
funny.
a year where they say Joey
Yeah.
Bosa instead of Nick. So if Joey's there,
Well,
it's
if we got two of them, we might get 17 games out of two of them combined. So and that's the
Good point.
reality.
Yeah,
that's a
So
very
you
good
know,
point.
if so long as they're happy to share a contract and share the price between them, then because they're only going to play one season between the two of them, then
Khalil Mack,
yeah.
Arden Key, other names on there. So like you said, Najee, at the moment it's kind of like
in terms of trades going the other way, Mac Jones appears to be our one tradable chip. I'm going to put you in your GM's seats again as well, and you get the I'm going to see where you hit the offers. Suppose we get offered a 5th round pick, and let's say in the middle of the round, 5th round pick for Mac Jones. You say yes or no?
No,
Pick 16, say in the round.
Before the draft, no. I think we're quite cheeky at the moment. We say there's some quarterback needy teams out there. His price is high before the draft, and then I think after the draft. And again, I say we know it's a business, Najee, but Mac Jones came in and did well. He's got 1 year left on his deal.
Really well.
If the opportunity presents after the draft, Gareth, and I think the team are happy with the backup options, but at the moment, they're all making the right noises, aren't they? They said he isn't going anywhere. It'd have to be a ridiculous offer to blows out the water.
Exactly.
3 first-round picks.
Third round pick then.
I would absolutely
third round.
I was absolutely take a 3rd round. Yes, I think because we drafted Curtis Rourke, and I genuinely do believe he's a very good QB, and obviously he's just getting his knees sorted, and he's been on the team for a year. But yeah, you're right, Colin. He's a starting QB. We would have to give a lot more than that.
I was wanting to see where your level was, because
I take a 3rd. I think a 3rd is good.
We just traded to the Raiders for
start.
Crosby, like you've just said. You give us Crosby, we give you Mac
there
Jones. Done deal.
There is that. If he's not sold on Mendoza coming through the draft, then there's worse places to go.
They're gonna stop now.
They're going to draft. They are going to draft him, but they're also maybe let him sit for a year. People forget, Mahomes sat for his first year.
But do you want to send? Is Mac Jones going to want to do that? Go for another year somewhere.
He might not get the choice if he hasn't got a no trade clause. He ain't got the choice. If we deal him, we'll deal him.
All jokes aside, Gareth, that 2-year deal looks brilliant, because obviously at the moment it's in our hands, isn't it? As much as Mac Jones,
we learned that I think from Darnold.
Yeah, we did learn that from being Darnold, and as was shown last year, you need a good backup in this league. And the fact that he was able to come in, so I do think at the moment, given that we're in February/March, it would take a blockbuster kind of deal to tempt the team, in my opinion, anyway.
So Richard said keep him, and we'll get a comp. We'll only get a comp if he plays, though. That's the only difference.
Well, if he signs a contract, isn't it, somewhere else?
Yeah, if he signs a contract,
we'd only get a 6th or something for it.
Yeah, we wouldn't get much for it. I think if we could get a 3rd or more this year, I think you just jump at it, especially if you get it this year. For
I think
this draft.
There's teams needy. I could see Pittsburgh being interested.
He's only got a cap hit as well of $3.1 million this year. So you've got to weigh that up as well when you're
bringing him in with a rookie, or you're bringing him in with an injured player. I mean, there's even people like the Chiefs are possibly going to miss Mahomes, and they're going to think, well, actually, let's have that guy. Make sure that when Mahomes comes back in week 8 or 9 or 10, that he's got a season to play for.
There's a lot of team that need a QB, like the Vikings, the Falcons. It's so many teams. Maybe the Saints.
I think we could get more. I think maybe 3rd might be the ceiling, but I think we could get maybe a 3rd.
We could get a 2nd,
5th, or something.
Yeah.
A third and a 5th, or swapping.
I think we already have 10 picks this year, maybe 11. So I'm not sure we would go for 2 more. There's so many players. I mean, maybe we do, and then we package those to go up the draft and pick whoever we want. It's not a bad thing to have either. But yeah, no, I agree. I think 3rd is minimum. 2nd is absolutely yes. Let's do it.
Well, I think there's assuming, again, I'm going to put you guys on the spot, assuming that Mac Jones does indeed get a nice job somewhere else starting in the league. I think we're going to be a sought after place to come to for QBs needing to reset their careers. So suppose we could get these guys on these kind of 2-year deals, 6 million, maybe up to 10 million with incentives. If you're getting paid, I think we could dictate those terms, because I think there's probably some quarterbacks out there. You know, if one of them turns it down, you say, okay, mate, bye. We'll get somebody else. Yes or no to the following quarterbacks that may or may not be available. And some of them, not necessarily sensible. Marcus Mariota.
Yes, he's a legend. Always.
Yeah, like I'm a fan, so yes, I'd say that.
Kyler Murray.
No. You only get him until the new Call of Duty comes out, and then he's gone. So,
I
thank you.
I don't know if he can,
I was going to say a comedy
he's a
answer. The
star.
serious
He's-
answer is no, but
Yeah, he's low level starter, isn't he? Low
Yeah.
level QB1, so he's high QB2. I mean, kind of part of me wouldn't necessarily object to
think
seeing him have a game or two.
I don't
for
think he
us,
brings
but
much, because the whole point of having a good backup is that runs scout, so you want him to be good, right?
Yeah.
Also brings something to the QB
But-
room, So I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
but
I don't
he's-
know. I don't know.
yeah.
It's
Anyway,
that's what I
there
was
we
going to
go.
say. Nadji, let him play the scout team so we can go up against a mobile quarterback. But
that's a good point. But Mariota's
substation,
fine. Mariota's fine. Just keep Mariota.
You know, you
Tua.
mentioned Call of Duty. Tua Tagovailoa, no chance staying away.
Tua,
I don't know.
no, I would
Nah.
stay away from Tua. I like him, but it's just, what's the point? He's going
I
to
think
retire
he's-
very soon.
yeah, it's too much risk.
And isn't his money? I think he talked
Yeah,
about
but
the-
this is assuming people get binned off, and they're going to take that deal. 2 years, 6 million, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew.
Yes, always the stash. Always. Why not? So that's
I mean, comedy value. I mean, if we lose Mac Jones, I'm going to need someone for the gift
Exactly.
game in Discord. So yeah, let's go down that route. Because
just give Minshew, give him number 10.
not number 10. We'll all go to
Number
Tasha's for
10,
the watch party.
we'll do this,
Oh, there's the vibes.
amazing.
There's the vibes.
Absolutely.
Minshew
It's
Mania,
worth it
for
just,
sure.
just for that.
That'd be great. Love it.
Carson Wentz.
No, thank you.
I think he's probably.
Done.
I don't think there's something there to fix. And finally, Kenny Pickett.
No, thank you.
No, you reckon there's
Too
not enough
young,
there?
not enough experience, too small hands. That was never gonna work.
And anyone else? If anyone else has got some QBs who they think are going to be kicking around available and possibly wanting to sign with the Niners, let me know. Those were the only ones I could think of.
I don't think they'll cut. I don't think they
Richardson's
cut
not
him.
bad.
He's on his rookie contract. They're not gonna get rid of him.
I was thinking of putting Trey Lance in there, but I think we probably know the answer to that one.
I
Yeah,
saw
no
a
thanks.
Colts fan tweet out that
Oh, there we go.
Daniel Jones wants a new 4-year, $160 million deal at the Colts, but it would set him back 5 years like it did the Giants. So no, thank you. And it did make me chuckle. But oh, yeah, I like. Do you like that? Do you like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll have
He's
to.
not going to take the $3 million, is he?
No, it would. Maybe it would. He's made so
He's-
much money.
I think he might be. Yeah, Steelers maybe something like that.
I would take Kirk Cousins though. I think he would actually bring quite a lot to the team in terms of
vibes would
experience
be
and the
good.
vibe, good vibes. And I think as a scout, I think it would work. I think as a backup, it would work really well.
The
Will-
only nightmare would be the QB controversy if
Well, see, I
Brock
was
has
gonna
a bad
say.
game.
There'll be a bit
or-
of noise, but I think Brock can handle that. No problem.
And Chris has come in with a good.
Oh, brutal.
Jalen Hurts is good. Leave him alone.
Well, yeah. So if you've got any other QBs, they're the only ones I could think of who are kind of kicking around backups.
That's fair. That's fair.
Maybe wanting to get redone. There we go. What time are we at? We're at 10 to 9. We probably should start thinking of wrapping this up in a little bit. One thing I was going to mention, whether I've not heard anything else from this, but Lee either started or at least voiced a rumor that maybe John Lynch was on the hot seat at the end of the season. What do you make of that? Because I've not heard anything else. I've heard a little rumble from other places, but
I don't see it. I think the whole I'm looking for words. The attitude of the team, the player we draft, the way the team conducts itself, the way the press conference are going, the way the whole communication that we have, the way, like, we're one of the only team that kind of says things the way they are. I don't think we hide that much stuff unless we're trying to catch people off guard. But we don't lie, we don't deceive. We've always been pretty fronty about, like the front office has anyway, about what we feel about players, how we feel about players, what we're looking for. There's never been like, oh yeah. I mean, obviously we're not gonna say, oh yeah, we're targeting this player because it rises the price, right? But we've always said, oh, somebody call us for this player, we'll listen. Somebody, there's always been a lot of transparency, and I think that comes from John Lynch. I don't think that comes from Kyle. And I just think we're one of the best franchises in the league at the moment that does that. Not many people do it. There's a lot of secrecy around it. I don't think there is that much around our team, and I love that for it. And the whole culture is the word I was looking for. The player, the way they play, the way they behave. I know Debo and Brandon is a bit of a sidestep from it, but
Yeah, they're wide receivers.
they're wide receiver divas. Yeah, that's right. But you know, the whole mentality of the team, the way, the type of coaches we have. You know, we had women for a while and all that kind of stuff. That's good. Like the franchise has been amazing. I think, you know, the number of fans has gone up. We're always well traveled, and I think it's a reflection of the team perspective from outside, and I think that comes from him rather than from Kyle. It's definitely a tandem in a partnership, but that side of it, I think, comes from John Lynch, and you could hear him when he was a broadcaster, if people remember. He was always one of those guys that was really clever, a bit like Daryl Johnston, you know, not one of those team like superstar, but it's just very clever, very well spoken, very knowledgeable, and kind of respected. And I think that goes a long way. So for me, I'd have John Lynch forever and ever. But that's me.
To be honest, Gareth, as part of my kind of therapy, I went back and looked at my journey as a Niners fan from year one to this year. And before Shanahan and Lynch took over, I was reliving those years, Najee, Chip Kelly, Tom Sewell. I know people say you can't keep going on about that. But the fact that what Lynch and Shanahan said when they took over was this team was going to be competitive. The culture is going to be there. And as you've said, you cast your mind back over their journey with our team. As Najee said, we are a well-run franchise. Other franchises look at us. It's a testament to the coaching hires that have happened and the players that we've got. So, I mean, if Lynch wants to step upstairs, I think it would be more if he wants to go. But in regards to Lee's comments that he's on the hot seat, I still think there's credit in the bank, especially after this year with the injuries, the fact that Shanahan was up there for Coach of the Year, what we've done off the field as well. And I don't think he's on the hot seat for me anyway, Gareth. That was a long way of answering your question, buddy, so I apologise.
No, but I think there hasn't been much rumbling about it. But part of me is we're carrying some dead money, I think, this year still from Javon Hargrave.
First time, yeah. That was a bad deal.
Free agents have we signed? You know, that's not been great. We haven't really found impact free agents. We traded for those two guys, and they were literally. I think both of them. Well, certainly we know Trent Williams came because it was Kyle, and that's where he wanted to go. So he basically said, "Yeah, I'll agree to be traded if I go there," and that's about it. So I don't know that those are genius sort of GM maneuvers. And obviously Trey Lance was a big whiff, and
it was
in the NFL. Not a lot of GMs survive a whiff that big. Look what happened to the guy who was at the Vikings. You let Sam Darnold walk, and he's out of a job the next season.
Yeah, but Shanahan was hired first, and he brought Lynch in. And I know Shanahan's a king of the castle. I think I like Lynch
a lot, but I do think if you go back and look and say we haven't drafted particularly well for years. You know, the real.
I mean, I disagree. I disagree. Most of the team that we have on the team that are superstar now are draftees. So,
like, you know, Kittle.
Well, I mean, Fred, Kittle, Bosa's
no brainer.
Debo. You know.
I suppose, Gareth, I like what you're doing with the I do like the argument you're on, but I suppose, like Najee said, if you go back and look, yes, have we missed on some draft? Of course,
everybody does.
Everybody does, but it's been Purdy aside, and then you're talking about players we drafted 7-8 years ago. there's been a couple of really poor draft classes,
We've had a
which were the
couple
ones.
of drafting, but I think
And
yeah.
I'm just saying, in the NFL, for right or wrong, you spring together a couple of years of bad draft classes, a couple of whiffs in free agency, and you're on the hot seat. That's the reality.
That's true. That is true. But then, as Paul said, do you want Trent Baalke? You know,
No.
because that's the risk. You get rid of John Lynch. The chances of getting somebody better is very
something to
marginal,
watch,
so.
though. It is something to watch.
What I will say, and I'm glad you've gone down that route, we
Mm.
as a channel get accused sometimes of being glass half full. I'm very positive, but this year I do think that you're going to see a different side to the Forest, and I think it's right to ask those questions. I mean, the question you asked was, is he on the hot seat? And me and Nadji said no. But then when you start to pick out, could we draft better? Certain aspects, you'd say yes, the Trey Lance deal. But as I said, it's a crapshoot. You don't know what you're going to get. The article I was reading talked about all the players who the teams had taken ahead of Brady, and none of those players went anywhere. And that's hindsight. That's probably one of the worst examples I can give. Brock Purdy drafted last. But equally, as Nadji said, if you look back through old draft classes, there's been some absolute superstars drafted late on. So we were to where
there's
we are
been
now.
a lot of first round whiffs.
The first round whiffs are definitely true.
And yeah, you know, there's a couple of, I think, the 22, 23 draft classes. The ones we're missing the first round picks from Trey Lance, we got very little. You know, we've ended up with a couple of guys. We haven't ended up with, you know, pro bowlers. So
I wasn't laughing at you, Gareth. I was laughing when I read this out loud, and then it says Chris just wants us to draft Lemon for the name. That's us all over. That's what we do as a channel.
Oh, but I'd say I agree. I think
it-
John's really good with the players. I think he's really good with a lot of elements, but there has been some poor returns.
I think you're being a bit very, you know, Niners centric, which, you know, is what we do. I get it.
Sorry.
It makes sense.
Please not here. Someone had to.
But you know, D Winters is a very not that late pick that has turned out to be a great player and could be. Who knows what Michael Williams is going to be? I think we're looking too much into the whiff, and I agree. A free agency, there's not many free agents that are actually all that good every year to grab. I think it maybe 4 or 5, and then that's it. Usually teams don't let free agents walk unless they really can't do anything about it. I don't know. Insight. Insight.
No, but it's the modern NFL.
I agree with you.
If you have a few bad years, I think that does start to put you on the hot seat.
The longer we go without winning this Lombardi, the more it's going to be on a hot seat for sure. There's going to be a time where something's going to have to change for sure.
I think certainly this year it's shown how good the coaching is, and I think then it starts to look at why do we always seem to have a roster that's got some holes.
And I suppose as well, when in my journey, we've had 3 Super Bowl winners from the NFC West, and none of them have been the Niners, and that's the frustration we're all at now. And I was saying to my boss, who was the Bears fan at work, you know, we had to face Mahomes twice. Seattle faced the Patriots, and it's just the luck of the draw, I suppose.
Yeah, and the Rams did the same. You know, they had to face the Patriots, and like one of the worst game ever.
And the Bengals.
Yeah, they also got to face the Bengals, which we should have won that championship
before
game.
We finish off, Gareth, I haven't got the graphic because the Bluetooth wouldn't work on my phone, but the NFL have announced their International Fan of the Year for each franchise. There is a couple of UK and European winners. So, funnily enough, being a Niners show, just want to give a big shout out to Brad Simcox, who's the Kansas City Chiefs winner. I've done some podcasts with him. He helped me arrange the watch party a couple of years ago. So he's a worthy winner. So I was pleased for him. But the Niners have gone with a fan from Germany, David Rosler. Now, Lee has put out a good post on Twitter and Instagram. So we just want to say congratulations to David.
Yeah, too right.
Deserved,
Yeah, well deserved. So I think all 32 get to go out to the draft in Pittsburgh, and then one will be picked as the International Fan of the Year for the
That's
NFL.
right.
So I think that's
Which
how it
was
works.
the Niners? Was it last year? Or the Australian guy. We should have seen it. We should have seen it. We should have seen it going.
Yeah, there we go. Well, that means Germany next year, then, doesn't it? And I'd look
Maybe.
forward to that. I think more than the London game.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't think
absolutely.
the Niners play
Absolutely.
internationally next year, but
No,
I
chance.
may be wrong.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Before we finish off, we are heading to that wonderful off season, but we will be back with lots of content. I know there's a few in the community who've reached out and want to do some college shows, talk about the draft and things like that. Lee will be back. But if you're wanting your fix of American football, the Flag Football BAFA League is literally around the corner. And I do have to share, Gareth, there is a new team on Teesside called the Teesside Thunder. Now, they hadn't had a shout out before because they didn't have a 49ers fan on their roster. But if you follow me on social media, you'll have seen that I said to Tracy, I went down on Saturday night just to see what it would be like. And I can say that, yes, I am back out of retirement. I'm going to have another season playing flag football. So I said to the Teesside lads, I'd give them a shout out tonight. So if you want some more information and you are in the Northeast, they are looking for players. But chaps, we've done an hour already.
Yeah, it goes fast. It's crazy. Yeah, go and play football, people. You can play contact, you can play flag. It's starting soon.
And this is how plugged in Tracy is. She works for Durham University. Durham University's American football contact team have just won their division title, which Tracy had no idea until I mentioned it at dinner time today, Gareth. But give them a shout out as well. I've had a blast. It's been great to talk football with yourselves.
Yeah,
do go and vote for the four fuckers.
Yes, go and vote.
That was the last thing that I wanted to say. We will be back next week. We don't know what day. We don't know what time because we're just winging it as per usual. But do all that good stuff. Like, subscribe, share on social media. Keep those notifications turned on. And all that is left for me to say is go Niners.
Go Niners.
We love the San Francisco 49ers deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, deep Clark. Garrison Hurst, Skip Farr going 99. Don't get it twisted, one and all with prime time. John Taylor, Jerry Rice down the